Hi and welcome back to part 5 of my Godot platform tutorial for 2026. We've managed to get quite a lot covered. We've got a tile map and that we can add extra tiles and draw our tiles with. We've got a player that's animated with an animated sprite, and we've got some spikes that we can add in as prefabs and a portal, and the whole thing works pretty well. So one of the major features that people always ask for is the background. When we play our game right now, we get this horrible kind of grey background. And there's one cool feature that we can add into this inside of Godot called the Parallax Background, or the Parallax layer. And in this video, we're going to cover that. So this is one of the most misunderstood nodes, and I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to work through it, but also show you how to get some help for when it doesn't go right. So we're going to add in the child node, and if you start typing in parallax, P-A-R, you should see there's two different nodes. Now the parallax layer has been deprecated apparently, and we should, it recommends using parallax 2D instead. This is new, so let's just chuck it in right now. So if we click create, the Parallax 2D node, we could rename this. I think I might do actually. I'm going to call it background. The documentation for this is actually pretty good. So if we click on the Parallax 2D node and then click up on doc, you'll see that there's some info in here, and then there is a tutorial that it takes you to that will go over some of the key things. One of the biggest issues that people have is we add in the layer, and then you add in sort of a sprite that goes in as the background, and then the issue that people have is this infinite repeating and getting it to work without going glitchy. So this documentation is perfect, and I will walk you through it, but then if you do get stuck, this is where you can come to find out how to fix those problems. So once again, I'm going to go to my Amazing Kenny new platformer pack 1.1. I'm going to go into sprites here and into backgrounds, and then I'm going to choose double, just because they're slightly bigger. We're going to have to make them bigger still to get them to work properly. There's a couple to choose from. I kind of quite like the mushroom one, so I'm going to drag that into my scene. So click on the folder I want it to go in, and then I'm just going to drag it down into the project, and it should appear in here. Now that it's in, I'm just going to add it on as this as the child of this background. This controls all of the sort of movement, but we still need to show what it's going to look like. So I'm going to add in a child node, and I'm just going to choose this sprite 2D node, and then just drag my background mushrooms onto there. Now you'll see that they've kind of positioned themselves centered. It's kind of expecting it to be a sort of a normal sprite rather than this background sprite. So we can click under offset for sprite 2D and just uncenter it so it's not centered anymore. There are a couple of issues we also need to fix as well, because you'll see that it's not big enough, and this is probably the thing that everybody gets wrong. Inside the documentation, it shows you that the top level background, you're able to actually have repeats, and you can change the scroll scale, how fast it moves. In other words, the repeat size usually should match your screen resolution. Now our screen resolution from our project settings is, if we go under window, it's 1152 by 648. That's the default size for most of the games. So we do want the repeat size to be this 1142. So if we do repeat size 1152, like that, what you'll see is that it repeats. It repeats exactly at the edge of the window there, but the sprite itself isn't big enough to cover that. The documentation does cover some of this. There's a couple of ways you can solve it. The easiest way, obviously, is just to scale this sprite up so that it matches the size of your screen. So with this selected, we just click on the actual sprite 2D itself. So we're not scaling the actual parallax layer. We're going to leave that as the repeat size is correct. And then with the sprite 2D, we can just go down to the transform for the sprite 2D, and we can just scale it up. So I'm going to click on the X and drag, and what you'll see is the whole thing scales uniformly across both X and Y. Now it seems really weird, but I think it's 2.245 or something like that gets me approximately correct. I don't think there's any gap in there. We can also set the offset slightly on the Y so that rather than making it all the way at the bottom, we're going to do that, because you'll see that we do need a little bit extra at the top and the bottom when we're moving around on our level, because we don't want to just suddenly see blank at the top here, and I don't want it to have to tile upwards as well as right and left. And lastly, you'll see that it's kind of over everything. Everything is still there, it's just that it's over everything. So the way you can fix that is weirdly simple. You just drag the background as the first thing that gets drawn, so you actually just drag it to that behind like that. There's other ways of doing it through the ordering. So if you do have other things that you need to fix and you absolutely must have it in that order, you can just click down on the canvas item ordering and make sure that it's definitely one of the lower values. So you can change this so it's like definitely going to be behind everything else. Everything's usually set to 0, so I'll make this one a -1, so no matter what happens it's always going to be drawn behind everything. When you play this, what you end up with is this really cool background. I do need to fix that because it looks like I wasn't exactly right, so let's go back and fix that now. So back in the actual Sprite 2D, just going to go here and just make this slightly bigger, so I'm dragging it up. And I think it just doesn't matter too much as long as it's about approximately right. It should be almost invisible to the naked eye right now, so that's not bad. You can't really see the overlap. And lastly, the background, the Parallax 2D background, is actually a cool effect that you can do. So what you can do on scroll scale with the Parallax 2D layer, you can change this to something less than 1, and what it allows you to do is allows it to scroll at a slightly different speed to the way that the camera is moving. So it gives it a really nice effect where everything in the foreground moves at a different speed to the background, so it really makes it look like a background. So the video is very short, so what I'm going to do is add in a bonus. We're going to add in some sounds. So the Kenny pack that we had downloaded earlier actually came with some sounds already. So if we go back to that download, if you see there's a whole sounds folder. Now maybe don't want it all, but what I am going to do is I'm literally going to just drop the whole thing in. So I'm going to select the main resources and drag the whole sounds folder in, and that should create the sounds folder in there, and it should add in the sounds as well. So these are OGGs, so they'll work with web, but they'll also work on the Windows platform. The first the first sound that I'd probably like to put in would be like a jump, because it's cool. So with the player selected, so I'm going to go actually to the player prefab, the player scene, so that we're able to add it in there, so it'll happen across all of the scenes if we've used the player before. It's really easy to get sounds to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a child node, and if you start typing in audio, you see that there's an audio listener, an audio stream player in there as well. The main one that I want is just the audio stream player, so that the standard audio stream player, which is the white one, it doesn't have a position, so it doesn't need a listener necessarily. It's just going to play a sound, and that's basically it. I mentioned it before in my early tutorial, but when you need to do something in Godot, there's often a node for that, and this is a classic example. The audio stream player literally just plays sound. So if we click on the audio stream player, I'm going to rename this. So I'm actually going to say jump sound, because I would like to be able to have this so that I have different sounds. So this could be a death sound as well as a jump sound. So we'll put in the jump sound right now, and then where the stream is where you want to put the actual sound in. So let's do that one. Let's have a little, if I double click that, I should be able to play that. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to do jump high and drag that across there, and then I'm just going to save that. Now you'll notice the properties here we can have playing is on, autoplay is on. We definitely want that. Don't want that because we're going to have to trigger that when we actually jump. So inside the player script, this is where we want to be able to do the actual jump sound. Now, like we did before, we want to reference this sound from this script. So the script is on player and we want to reference that. So I'm going to use the shortcut. I'm going to hold Control while I click and drag that across. So I actually had both of them, which is not what I wanted. I just wanted the jump sound. So I'm going to say onReadyVar jump sound and then reference it with a $sign. So that'll run down towards this and then highlight this and save it as a variable. The code is pretty easy because there's only one place that we actually do the jumping. So right here is where we do the jump. So you need to be inside this if statement, and then we will just say jump sound dot play, and that, believe it or not, is it. It will play the jump sound. So when we test our game, we should get, every time we hit the jump, we should get the jump sound playing. And lastly, just because we can, why don't we add in a death sound? So I'm just going to add in another audio stream player. I'm going to rename this one to death sound, and then we're going to use the I think either the disappear. What does the disappear sound like? Oh yeah, that sounds perfect. I'm going to use the disappear, drop it into here. Again, we don't want it playing on autoplay because we're going to code it. And guess where we're going to put our little bit of code. So firstly, let's reference this thing. So holding control, drag death sound across to here. So do that again. Drag it across so we have a reference to it called death sound, and then down here where we actually respawn, we're just going to run that sound. So we'll just say death sound dot play. How easy is that? And then let's just test it to make sure that it actually works. So run into the spikes and we get the death sound. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I've had fun making it. This is a 2026 using Godot 4.6 platform tutorial, updated with all the latest stuff. So thanks for watching, and if you stuck this far, hopefully you will have had fun and enjoyed learning a little bit of Godot. Feel free to make as many levels as you want and adapt and play with your code. That's the best way to learn. And I'll see you in my next series. Cheers, thanks for watching.